Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is the Clark from Travels with Stifler. Thank you for watching part 1 of the Honda Revival series, and thank you for joining back in for part 2. I hope you enjoyed the first part, and I hope that the second part will be even better. We continue this story after we had a swim in the old Belfast quarry. In the end of the last video, you admired from Andre riding on his Triumph Tiger for a bit. And now we will be looking at a few other people. Firstly, you saw me past Uncle Andre and then Ernestos, who is riding on an old GS adventure. So, this is where the story continues. After cooling off in the old Belfast quarry, it was time to head back. The sun was slipping lower, the air thick with that late day dust smell, and Frankenstein fired up on the first press of the ignition. It's that perfect time of the day when the light turns gold, and every kilometer feels like a gift. The road back from the quarry to Tonteldoos is pure rhythm, sweeping turns, red dust, and endless hills as far as you look. Frankenstein purred, like she finally started to trust me. No rattles, no complaints. Just that Honda V-twin whine. You all know the one I'm talking about. After all the work that we put into her, it felt like this bike was alive again. And for the first time since I've had her, I wasn't thinking about breakdowns, just the ride. So, here we are, riding, looking, enjoying it, wondering what will happen. And there we have it, the first fall caught on camera. So, look again. I put it in slow motion for a bit of laughs. So this is my dad. In my opinion, he's one of the most experienced riders on this trip. Also one of the best. I've been a riding pillion with my father since I was 12, maybe a bit earlier. Any case, my dad does know how to ride. The problem here is he hasn't ridden on his GS for a while, and he was in the wrong riding setup. So how the GSs work, they have a few different riding modes, including rain, road, Enduro and Enduro Pro. So what happened here is my dad was on the Enduro Pro mode, and so he fell once before this. I didn't catch it on camera. What would happen was Uncle Andre fell in the thick sand, and then my dad had to brake hard so that he didn't hit him, and he fell as well. And then this the shot I captured was my dad driving off through the thick sand, and unfortunately he got a bit of a whiskey throttle when he took off, and the bike's rear end just went out, and after that there's not much you can do to control it. We checked the bike, nothing serious was broken. The one spotlight bracket broke, but we just cable tied it up, and that was the short time lapse you saw there. Was just us fixing the bike, the spotlight, just cable tying it back to the frame. And just to add something, for every person watching this video who has a GS, or who is thinking about having a GS, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, or even said the phrase more than twice. Yes, but a GS is heavy and it's hard to pick up. Well, if you just rewind a bit, you'll see how easy a GS is to pick up. But this just reminded me of how important physical fitness is when doing trips like this. Sure, anybody can do them. I'm not saying you have to be an ultra-marathon athlete to be a good rider, but you do have to have a base level of fitness to enjoy the ride more. After this, we had a short stretch of tar road, luckily not too much, as Frankenstein isn't the happiest on a tar road between all the bikes that we see here, as she is the smallest. Um, we had a KTM 990, few GS 1200s, various models of them, and then the other Honda was a 2024 CRF Africa Twin. Speed wise, Frankenstein was not the king, but off-road wise, I believe Frankenstein was the king. The thing I really started to appreciate on this ride was the camaraderie that comes with motorcycle riding. The big idea of this trip was to ride with people that we love, and that's why you'll see me riding behind my dad for most of the trip. Just watching him, learning more. You know, I learned a lot from him while riding as his pillion, but just seeing him ride in his element while I ride behind him gives a different perspective of the way he rides and how to do things on the road. As you can see here, the road got a bit more technical and we had a bit more fun and a bit more close calls, a bit of more moments, like you'll see at the ruts, or maybe when I suddenly break or lose distance from my father. But also we got to enjoy God's beautiful creation. There's something different about experiencing nature and the creation from a bike. You get to feel the change in air temperature as the sun sets. You get to smell the different smells of trees starting to bloom and flowers sprouting, or even dry areas or areas where the grass might be burnt. You just experience it in a different way. I don't think there's any way better to experience all these things than on an iron horse. A piece of mechanical technology that you get to use and you manipulate it as you have to feel every bump in the road, every ditch, every swerve of the throttle, every handlebar twist that comes from a rut in the road. It's just a feeling like no other. And I think that's truly where the love of motorcycling took a hold of me. Being in the creation with a man-built object, speeding at times, but mostly enjoying the view, seeing how the blue sky turns into a dark red and orange as the sun sets, looking forward to the end of the day, to stop, talk to people you love, and share a bond that can't be explained. A bond over dirty clothes, red sand in your teeth, and the purr of a motorcycle. Whether it be a Honda, a BMW or a Yamaha, at the base root of it, we all share the same DNA. The love for an engine, the love for speed, and the thrill of adventure. So, after the day's ride, before getting to Bush Boys and Guangzhou, we had to stop at the Tonteldoos bar because we remembered the Springboks were playing rugby, and of course we had to watch it. What kind of South African would you be if you don't watch the Springboks play? So we stopped at the local bar in Tonteldoos, got a few cold drinks, maybe a plate of chips, and we watched the Springboks game. And man, wasn't that a nice way to end the day? Not only seeing us and our group of people who were riding bikes, but seeing other people from other places in the country also coming here on this random weekend to watch rugby and enjoy a lekker laugh with people they love and who they bonded with over the love of motorcycles. After we were at the pub and we enjoyed a drink and a laugh, we had to make the way back to Guangzhou. In the darkness, you'll start to see the spotlights I added to the Honda. We added Rock Fox spotlights, and they have two modes, yellow and white, and I forgot that I left them on the white and yellow combination mode, so you will see the yellow light in front of me. but it did help, as the lights of the Africa Twin standard are definitely not enough to drive on technical roads in the evening. And this also brings a different aspect to the adventure. To drive on a dirt road in the evening is totally different than to do it during the day, when you can at least see the ruts that you're about to. So going in the night, and even this time of the day when it's dusty and the sun is setting, you have to drive off feeling a lot more. So this is where we got to the pub, and we quickly stopped. Once again you'll hear the revving of motorcycles and the heave of people after a long day of riding. Tired, maybe a bit unfit, but I'm sure that's something we'll sort out. And there you see them again. There is the other Africa Twin that Jaden is riding, and from Andre and my dad. So this is where we stopped, got off, had a drink, and then we went back to Joe's, got a nice piece of steak, and Joe told us a few stories from his heyday, the days when you were still riding, his Roof of Africa trips. And you know, that's the thing that I enjoyed the most of this trip. That smile after a day of long hard riding, and each one of us having a bit of dust in our teeth and on our eyes. We talked about bikes, routes, and all tracks we've all ridden. Frankenstein just stood there, ticking as she cooled down, almost like she was part of a conversation with all the other motorcycles. And that night, with the fire fading and the laughter slowing down, I realized the trip isn't about getting somewhere. It's about the moments like this. The roads, good people, and a bike that finally felt like mine. I will see you guys in the next video next week, and I hope you enjoyed this one. See you later. This is Stifler checking out.